Hey guys, welcome back. Um, this is a review for the new Blood Rage: Return to Crimson Pines. This came out, I want to say, about a month ago, and I'm so glad I pre-ordered it. I really hope I can find a shirt somewhere with this artwork. This is probably my most anticipated death metal album of the year so far. This is a two-man project, and it is definitely horror themed. I believe this is actually based on the movie Sleepaway Camp. I've never personally seen it, but there are references throughout the album, especially in the audio clips. It says Sleepaway Camp in some of them. So that would be my assumption that it is based on the Sleepaway Camp series from the 80s. And you definitely get that 80s vibe just from looking at that art. This pre-order came with the CD, a very awesome cassette. There is a poster, however, I put it in another room to help remind myself to kind of unwrinkle it as it got a little wrinkled. It also came with this awesome koozie. It's just same design on both sides. Let me hold it like that. Again, sorry about that. And this awesome sticker. This is a two-man project, like I said. This is 6 tracks and it clocks in at 36 minutes and 36 seconds, which I thought was kind of funny. It is a fantastic album. I believe it is actually a concept album, and I believe they have another album that talks about Crimson Pines. I do not know, as I'm pretty new to this band. This is the first and only release I've ever heard from them. I do like the back. It says, "To avoid fainting, keep repeating, it's only a movie, only a movie, only a movie." I love that. And in the thanks, it says, "Thanks to Ben at Iron Fortress." You guys know I love Iron Fortress. And there's the inside. There's the two guys. Then here is your artwork behind the disc. This is just a brutal assault that holds no punches. It's very catchy, very old school, brutal death metal mixed together. It almost reminds me of if Cannibal Corpse, instead of focusing on like zombies and like body horror, like eviscerating people, plagues and whatnot, you would have more of the, again, slasher film, like Sleepaway Camp for the 13th, sort of themes in there. And I think almost every single song has an audio sample, which I would have a gripe with, but I believe this is also telling the story of a character. I don't know, I'd have to look more into the lyrics to really gather that. So let's talk about it. The positives. It's a album that I see myself getting hooked on. I've listened to it twice now, and it is fantastic. When I saw the artwork, when I saw this artwork, I thought, man, that would be a really cool shirt. I think they have shirts for it. I don't know where you can get it, unfortunately. Maybe their Bandcamp. This is an album where I think if you like old school death metal with a little bit of brutality at points, the more brutal death metal side at moments, I think you'll really like this. The riffs are just unrelenting, and it definitely made me start air guitaring. I like how transitions are very smooth between songs, and even in riffs you could go from a very blast beat driven moment, a very fast paced assault, to a more groove oriented, like, okay, now we're kind of doing this. The production, oh my god, the production is fantastic. The vocals are right up there in your face, and it is almost perfect for someone like me who struggles with doing some gutturals. It sounds kind of like someone kind of doing that perfect, like, you get that first nasty guttural out and it just sounds gruesome, vomit inducing at times. The fucking drums are I keep saying insult, but there's no other way to really describe it. It just pummels you. There are parts where it reminds me of some later Bolt Thrower stuff with some of the fills. I like that it's not a complete just blast beat driven band. They actually know how to keep you interested, and they keep it clean, they keep it fresh. It feels like a fresh breath of air is the best way I can say it. A new band that's a fresh breath of air, that's not like, all these bands that are just the same over and over and over again. No, it doesn't feel like it's ripping any one band off. I hear a bit of even like early, like, Cannibal Corpse, like maybe like Eaten Back to Life. It gets kind of thrashy at times. It's a very aggressive album, and it is so good. It doesn't feel like it is 36 minutes. It feels like I listened from track 1 all the way to track 6 without issue. There are 2 tracks that say the name Crimson Pines. The first one being the 3rd track, Return to Crimson Pines, the title track of the album. And the final track, Escape from Crimson Pines, is the other track that mentions Crimson Pines. I don't know where Crimson Pines is, but I do not want to go there if the first track is Her Blood Will Paint the Trail. That doesn't sound like a very sanitary trail to me. Then you got, I mean, every song title is almost like a story in of itself. The only one that's not a title that makes me think like story, but rather maybe a chant is track number 4, Join Us. You also have Lake of Blood, but maybe it's talking about a lake that's just nothing but blood for miles and miles, and that was just where they put Crimson Pines for whatever reason. You got songs like, again, Her Blood Will Paint the Trail, Butchered and Burned, uh, Escape from Crimson Pines. I will say I'm not the biggest fan of audio samples being used in almost every single song. However, I think they utilize them very well to add to the story. My gripe with it is it feels a little too fast for me. I would have liked maybe 8 tracks instead of 6, but at the same time, even an extra track, probably an extra track or two probably would have come by just as fast. For me, this album is like the perfect soundtrack for Halloween. This is like an album that I would listen to on Halloween night. It kind of reminds me of Acid Witch almost, with the cheesiness, which is not a bad thing. I absolutely love Acid Witch, and I'm actually seeing them with Autopsy, Nunslaughter, and Cardiac Arrest next weekend. So that's fun. I mean, again, that is some fantastic artwork. If that doesn't draw you the fuck in, I don't know what will. I would go pick up a copy if you can. I know they said that there weren't going to be many CD copies left. That said, I gotta give this album a solid, like, 8.5 out of 10. I mean, this is 8.5, no, 9.5 out of 10. This is damn near perfect. I just wish it was a little bit longer, and maybe, I don't know, maybe this will tell you not to go back to this Crimson Pines place and don't go to sleepaway camp, because you'll be butchered and burnt and going to join them at a lake of blood, whoever that is talking about. Thank you all for watching. Thank you for subscribing. As always, shine on.